Hello, welcome to the Day There Dudes. I'm Izzy.
I'm Raka, and we are here
Welcome back.
because on Netflix there is a Western out that's kicking major ass right now.
Would you call this a
Taking names.
new Western? What would you call this, Raka?
I call it, yeah, it can be a neo Western type, but I I think instead of making this insane amount of subcategories, it is in its truest form a Western.
No, it is.
Actually has all the elements of a Western. It's set in the West. It's
Yes.
cowboys, it's gunslingers, it's big moral dilemma, it's revenge.
Yes.
Bottom
Guns,
line.
cowboys, horses,
Outlaws.
outlaws, sheriffs, marshals, and all the good stuff. Women, men, and yeah. All right. We're talking about obviously The Harder They Fall, the 2021 film. It's been put on Netflix. What I think was last week. It's directed by James Samuel, and stars Jonathan Majors, Zazie Beetz,
Oh, it's a star-studded cast.
Idris Elba. We can go on and on.
Regina King, Lakeith Stanfield, which was he's one of my favorites
He
in
was
the
awesome.
entire playing Cherokee Bill.
Peggy. You have freaking
Delroy Lindo,
Yes,
a legendary actor in many films. So, all in all, let's get to the main highlight here.
well,
This is a Western.
Let me ask you this one question. Does it make a difference whether or not? Because people are going to always think about this. Is it a big deal, or don't you care, or it's not a big deal that Jay-Z was involved in the production of his film?
If you had told me that or didn't tell me that, it doesn't change my viewpoint of the film. Maybe that's the best way I can answer.
Good. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it doesn't.
So it doesn't have an influence. The only influence post fact, you telling me that, is the musical score was pretty good.
Yes.
This is a super change up from your typical Westerns with the whistling and the shooting and some maybe old style country. This was reggae. This was some hip hop. This was some modern tunes thrown in there. This was a lot of folk songs that were sung for centuries in the backdrop. So I thoroughly enjoyed the soundtrack. It was refreshing for a Western.
No, most definitely.
And this was a reimagined Western, obviously, because of the biggest highlight is the all-star cast, predominantly African Americans, in a new look at Westerns, not because they were excluded, which they were, but because these characters, as they mentioned in the very beginning, are based on true characters. The actual plot and storyline is fictitious, but these characters did exist. These outlaws, lawmen, everyone of African American descent who this is based in 19th century America. So not really sure whether this is post Civil War. Looks like it was. There's a lot of social tensions and economic disparity, obviously, but you're talking about that incorporated into the main thrust of the story, which is it's a revenge plot.
Exactly. It wasn't a movie that was okay. This is supposed to be a movie played by a quote unquote white cast, and we're just gonna change it up and just put African American actors or people of color, quote unquote. But it was a story that was natural and it was normal within the boundaries of these characters, or I'm sorry, these real people, like you said, that existed, and it was a story based upon them that made sense, that was interesting, that told a story, which is like you mentioned before, the big revenge plot or the whole revenge story. Okay.
And not to minimize the subplots,
No,
where it was also addressed about how women were treated.
Yeah, what we yeah,
and how women were looked upon, jobs and roles, and what was expected of. Because Regina King's character was very strong, as well as the lead feminist, very strong as far as
well, look,
they make their own decisions, they're powerful, they kick ass, they could be ruthless, and they one character in particular has expanded her business to multiple different cities, financially successful, definitely in charge. Didn't matter if you're the guy, girl, gang, whatever. She was successful. She was in charge.
and you can even take one character which they did not mention it overtly, but Cuffy, who was
Yes.
they constantly make a joke of the fact that they call her a boy, and we know that obviously it's an actress, or and we never established the fact because at that time obviously you don't have pronouns or whatever, but you can tell that they are not your regular quote unquote you know female actress as far as playing that role, you know what I mean? Or
Which was also good with the movie, you brought that up, is to segue into the fact that they departed from a lot of stereotypes, which is a very good thing. And stereotypes not only of racial lines, but sex, gender lines, and what you are not supposed to do. The script was really well done, in my opinion, in that most of the characters had carved out pretty good lines that make them stand out from one another, instead of being, oh, these were all gangsters, or these were all bad guys, and bad guys are the same. I thought there was a very small but good enough amount of humor. Some people had a slower drawl, like Southern. Some people would talk faster. Little subtle things that really made this movie very well done. The director, in particular, didn't overdo it with like Zack Snyder type slow mos
no,
and
thank God. I mean,
and big blow up scenes
he did have some of that, but not
in
to
the
the
fight
degree
scenes.
that you know, Mr. Zack Snyder or even his predecessor Michael Bay has. But I do have to disagree with you. I believe the writing was a bit, can I say amateur?
Generic.
Not so much generic,
Ah,
amateurish. I
ah.
think that the caliber of actors elevated the
Oh,
source
for sure.
to
I
what
mean,
it was. I
I have
think
to
that
say,
yeah, he had
Jonathan Majors, he acted superbly. Obviously, he had the most screen time.
for all you guys who don't know,
Um,
the Majors is playing Kang in he's the
yeah,
main antagonist in the upcoming in Marvel Phase 4 so
Kang
far.
series.
So he was also in the H.P. Lovecraft, what was it called? The series, the that was
Yes, the space horror,
yeah. And
sci-fi horror series.
unfortunately got
I
canceled,
mean,
but
like
he was awesome in that, and he is great in this.
Idris Elba brings star power name, but he had very minimalized roles, screen time and dialogue.
But the
Well,
gravitas
wasn't as much.
he brought was fine. Same thing with Regina King. Regina King had a
Oh, she had a strong role.
she did have a strong role, but which was worthy of her of caliber of the actress she is. But it was also um a secondary role, which I was kind of surprised she took it. Zazie Beats was the I guess the fiend, the first female.
Stagecoach Mary.
Yes.
Well, yeah, she was. She's obviously the. I can't say heroine in distress because yeah, she was
And,
shackled and
you
caught
know,
up. But
and we can't even say love interest because she was, but yet she was very integral to the role as far as she was not the damsel in distress. She was not the heroine, like you said, in peril. She was I mean it's the probably best way possible. She was the badass bitch she was, you know what I mean?
Lakeith Stanfield playing Cherokee Bill stole the show in many
By
instances.
far my favorite. He was fantastic.
He was almost sociopathic,
Yes.
and he would a subtle humor toying with his victims before they go.
Yeah. I mean, it was like he had this rule or this like the way he reacted to people who challenged him and just violence in general. Yet he broke every single freaking rule. That's what I'm gonna say. I don't want to spoil anything else, but yes,
He was cooler than cool. He was cooler than cool.
cooler than cool. Yes, he was.
All
He
right,
was
so
awesome.
beyond the storyline and the dialogue and the writing, the character development, yes, the story's pretty linear. Um, and I think you're right. What elevates the entire production is the actors, the director to some extent. And one thing that we touched on before, I'll get back to it now, is the soundtrack was pretty cool.
It was pretty
It
gas. I mean,
reimagined
it
a
fit.
western.
It kind of gave
Reimagined
you.
western.
It fit
It
in the
gave you good vibe when you needed to. It gave you a pretty cold punch in reality when it's got the thing was going to go down. It was very good and paired well with the action. Um, I gotta say, I was blown away by the movie in the sense that I didn't have the highest expectations and I didn't know what I was walking into.
no.
And
You know,
as a fan of westerns myself, I have not seen a western, actually a good western, in a while. I don't know if you can go back
Unforgiven?
to well, no, that's too far back. The reboot of the Rooster.
the Rooster.
What's his name?
Tombstone?
Not Tombstone. Jeez, I can't believe I'm blanking. The remake of the movie that
True Grit.
True Grit.
You
That's
welcome.
probably the last western I liked, and that's what 8-10 years ago.
It might be more than that, but yeah.
More of that. Well, so it's been a while, and I know it's hard to go revisit a western in modern times, and everybody's into cell phones and technology and this and that. But this was a really good western, man. I mean, for today's day and age, to go back in time, and there's a lot of factors now that you didn't have factored in. Again, Hang 'em High and Sundance Kid. I mean, there's stereotypes of Native Americans, of African Americans, of women and men, and they played to that because
But
that's what
you know what?
audiences at the time
do
wanted
give
to watch.
one negative is that I would have liked to have seen some Native Americans. I mean, I guess we know that Cherokee Bill is half. He even actually there's a moment where
Spoke, yeah.
he spoke. I'm assuming Cherokee. I mean, you know, if not, just let me know, guys. But I would have preferred to see, you know, Native Americans in the movie, but I get it. You know, it was just very specific to that, you know. And yeah, now, if you guys don't know, Nat Love, Mary Fields, Rufus Buck, Cherokee Bill, Bill Pickett, Jim Beckworth, and Bass Reeves were all legitimate historical figures. As Rocka mentioned before, this story in particular may not be real, but they all were real. So, another fun fact: James Samuel, director, is the younger brother of musician Seal. Go figure.
Mhm.
A little fun fact.
Well, there you go in how it ties into the musical soundtrack. So if you guys out there are looking for something to fill the void and your post Halloween horror movies as we coast into the Christmas, New Year's holiday season and the dreaded Old Man Winter. Yes, there's Silent Night, Deadly Night. There's Elf. There's a whole bunch of Christmas movies. But before we get into all that noise, log into your Netflix account or whoever account you use and go watch the movie. It is very entertaining. I can't say it wasn't. It was very entertaining. I think it will pleasantly surprise you in that sense. If I had to give a rating, I'd give it 3.5 tombstones.
Yeah, it was a very good film. A bit long. It's like 2 hours and like 11 or 8.
Yeah, 2 plus. Yeah,
Like,
in today's world where 1 hour and a half is too long.
and let's be honest, I would say it gets going after the first hour. Once the Nat Love gang actually reaches the Rufus Black Gang or Rufus
The Crimson
yeah,
the
Rufus
Crimson Hoods or whatever.
and
Well, they get to his town.
yeah, exactly. Get to the town of Idris Elba's town.
Redwood.
Okay. And yeah, dude, it was a good movie, man.
It's a very good movie. And
Three and
if
a
you
half out of
also
five. Same
appreciate
three, 3.5.
three and a
two out
half,
of five.
if you appreciate good acting, you'll see what we mean. How the acting really elevates the rather predictable plot line.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
stick through it. Some of the lines are hokey, but get through it. It gets better, and you have, I mean, I was satisfied. Satisfied.
the one good thing that they've updated is the guns kind of act like Quentin
Guns?
Tarantino's type of guns. They're all like magnums. One shot, and you blow somebody's brains away, or they go like 50 feet in the air. I don't
Yes.
know about guns in that era, but these guns kick ass. All right, that's all we have to say for now. We're going to tune in as we'll hit Eternals. We're going to hit some of the bigger movies that are out. There's a few movies coming out, and the DC has some lined up. Don't go away, and we'll definitely get back to you with all this info. Also, Anime Con is coming up this Sunday, this
We'll
weekend
be
in New
there,
York
and we
City.
will be
We will cover it. We
probably
will,
vlogging live and
yeah,
commenting
and
for
do what
live.
we did last time. We're going to do montage hit you with some very awesome cosplay. You think Comic Con has cosplay? These people in Anime Con take this stuff religiously. That's serious. Cheers. And again, thank you for almost 5,000 podcast downloads. Thank you for, I don't know, over nearing 200,000 YouTube video views. And of course, all the subscribers and likes, comments that you leave us. We are greatly appreciated. We see you there, Dark Horse, and all you other guys. Thank you so much. And keep tuned in. Save the whales.
Please comment, subscribe. I'm Izzy.
I'm Rocco. Save the whales.
Take care, guys.